Welcome off the post. I'm Russ Cohen. We've got Anthony Mingione. And how are you?
It's draft eve, Russell. It's draft
Yeah.
eve.
Yeah, I guess it's a non-shaving day too. And Michael Jello, how are you?
Oh.
I'm fine, Russ. How are you?
All right.
Yeesh.
Let's talk about some draft stuff. So,
Appreciate it.
I got word that it looks like the Flyers met with James Higgins and Porter Martone one more time.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony doesn't care. I do, because it's just, hey, the more information you can get, sometimes you have a question, you go back to the player. Like, those things are all good.
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that I expect them to do their due diligence.
Yeah.
And especially where they're positioned.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I would feel like, Russ, if they were a little higher in the draft, that would pique my curiosity a little bit more.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or, okay, 6, it's kind of like one of these guys will be here. Better for us to have. Okay,
yeah, they'll have 2 or 3 real good ones to choose from, and that's what they'll do.
Point with it, and if I sounded like a killjoy with it, tough.
You know.
Yeah, but it was just, I was just like, everybody just like, oh, he talked to this guy. He talked to this guy. Oh my, like,
I get that.
maybe he'll be there, but it doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything necessarily if he's not. If he's picked by somebody else.
The one guy that now I sort of, even though I wrote an article, put it on Sportsology, I walk around, I hear things, I see things, I think about things.
Things like
I went to Smash Burger, and it's like a lot more expensive here than it is at home. All those things.
everything on the West Coast.
Are you going to In-N-Out Burger?
The gas prices, by the way.
Oh, I bet. I'm not buying gas.
Seattle, like $4.60, $4.70 a gallon.
Are you going to
West Coast
In-N-Out
gas is ridiculous.
In-N-Out Burger, Russ?
No. Here's the thing. Here is a truthism about In-N-Out Burger. I don't eat red meat, so I can't tell you how the burgers are. I can tell you the fries suck.
Yes,
They should do better for fries, because if you're a burger place, the fries should be better.
Well, of all the things that I forgot to do when I was in Vegas, there is an In-N-Out Burger in Vegas, but since it was 105, I didn't get a chance to go.
I go to Capriati's. That's where I go. And actually, there's one in Marlton, which I haven't gone to yet. They're the ones that make the better than Wawa turkey cranberry hot sub mix.
I was tempted by Jack in the Box while I was in Seattle.
Yeah,
but I
used to get that as a kid.
I decided not to. It was just
the tacos were good as a kid. I remember the tacos were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember.
Let's get back to the hockey.
Let's get back to the hockey. So Milton Gastron's a player that I think the Flyers could be looking at.
Mm-hmm.
He could go anywhere from that 31 pick to that first second-round pick to the second round pick.
You don't think there's a possibility he might go a little higher in the mid-20s?
I mean, there is. There certainly is
a chance of it that he could in a draft.
I mean,
especially when teams are looking for centers and you're lower on in the draft, and teams really want to get themselves a center. I think they could talk themselves into a gas.
If there's a run on centers, it definitely could happen. Like, there's no question that that's a possibility. Yeah. I can't find anybody really, other than maybe Brad Allen, who doesn't think Joshua Ravensburg is the best goalie in this draft. And what I find interesting is on a lot of mocks, I did the opposite of a lot of people. When I did the live mock on Sirius, I had the Flyers taking Ravensburg, and everybody's giving Ravensburg to Nashville because they're looking for a goalie. But here's the thing. If you're the Flyers, get the best goalie in the draft. Why let him go to Nashville?
No, I wouldn't either. Like the way kind of I see Columbus as the team that at 20 could take him.
Maybe.
I really think that there's a very good chance that Ravensburgen's going to be there at 22 if Philly doesn't move up at all.
Right.
Which I think is, I know Darren Dreger said, sent out his whole who's looking to move potentially what. And obviously 22, when you have, 3 picks in the first round, 22 and 31 are going to be, those kind of picks that might get moved. But I think if Philly sits at 22 and if they get the center that they really want, say if a Denoyer is there, or they take a Higgins, I think then you get 22. I absolutely can justify a Ravensburg in a 20.
Yeah, I just say it's possible. Let's go Sabres for a minute and chat about this trade, Mike. I mean, It's unbelievable how many people are trying to build up Kesselring like he's this guy that's going to play up, and he is going to play up because the team's bad, but he's not going to play up because he's that good. He's a defensive defenseman who shoots a lot. And you know what? He could do that on the team he was at. He could do that on the Sabres. But if the Sabres got good, he would be a third pairing guy. And they get him. Josh Doan's okay. Like, I've seen Josh Doan. I like him. But he's a bottom 6 guy. Like, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say the reaction around Buffalo is not positive. I think it's because of the general manager who made the deal. The general manager who said who didn't want to say whether JJ Peterka had requested a trade because he'd requested a trade, obviously, because if he would have said no, he didn't, then this didn't make any sense. He didn't say that he requested a trade because as soon as he did, then the value plummeted. And I have no evidence to prove this. I have a feeling now. We heard all since the end of the season he had requested a trade. There's been rumors of offer sheets. How realistic they are, who knows? I will bet you Alan Walsh went to the Sabres and said, we have a team that's going to make an offer sheet.
I'm sure he did, but you know what?
Well,
go ahead.
Let me finish and then let me lay out the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
The Buffalo Sabres likely, if you take what Utah just signed him to, a 5-year deal at $7.7 million, we're not going to match that. So if they don't match it, they get a first, second, and third round pick. Okay, the Sabres don't want draft picks. So they're on the clock before July 1st to make a deal. And if they made the deal with the team that was going to offer them the offer sheet, they got pennies on the dollar. I'm not saying that Kesselring is not a decent defenseman. I'm not saying Josh Doan can't be a pretty good player. I think that, Kesselring is likely going to play with Dahlin and Power. Is that out of position in terms of higher in the lineup? Yeah, but this is a team that's not in the playoffs. So, somebody was saying, well, he's not a top 4 on a playoff team. This isn't a playoff team. So that's
right. Here's my retort, though. So my retort is, we understand Alan Walsh likes to get his guys out of town, but you're still the GM. Yeah. You can tell Alan Walsh, we will match, even if you don't intend on doing it, we're going to match any offer sheet that's out there. We will match it. You could also tell him, we own his rights, and we'll trade him at the right time when we have the right deal. They didn't have to trade him now.
Weigh what you could. Okay, say the scenario I'm laying out is the actual truth. Is it possible? It's not, sure. Say it is. Okay, if I'm Kevin Adams, I say to Alan Walsh, go spit. We're matching the offer sheet. And then next year, I'm trading your client.
At the deadline, yeah.
Here, let's also play out another scenario here, which I don't know if it's necessarily likely or not. That the reason why they took on the two players is that a couple players may be getting moved off their roster for whatever big fish upgrade in trade that Adams might be cooking up. That, we always talk about the other shoe dropping. I'm not saying it's going to happen. And I think by itself, and I had this conversation with Hockey Hot Stove's own Ted Starkey, we discussed this online, was the only way this deal makes sense, if you're talking about being from a competitive standpoint, is that you're adding Kesselring and Dome because you're going to be subtracting from those potential positions in a trade for a better upgrade.
Well, okay,
and probably and obviously an upfront upgrade in this.
Well, case. And that's the thing. Now the Sabres are on the clock because we know the next name that's going to be potentially moved is Bowen Byram. Right. Okay, if you're trading Bowen Byram, you absolutely, positively, without a doubt, must get a top 6 winger. If you don't, Kevin Adams should be fired on the spot.
Yeah, it would be a big failure. I don't know if we're going to hear any more trades. I have a feeling that they may hold them for the draft. I just had that feeling. So I don't.
We did a couple minor deals made today.
Yeah, but I mean the big ones. I think they're going to hold on to certain ones.
And obviously from earlier in the week.
Yes, that's different.
Yeah, that's a whole. Zegras from earlier in the week, which obviously we didn't get it. We should definitely touch on that, Russ, for sure.
Yeah, we'll check. We'll come back around. We'll come back around on that. Yeah, because this is a big Hollywood production now. There's 90 cameras, 90. Like they've never had 90. The NFL's never had 90. I don't know how that's going to go. It'll be interesting. They're trying.
Power outage.
They're lining up celebrities. They did ask me, and then they asked Nikki Glazer. So they took Nikki Glazer.
Where do you get the whole St. Louis part for you, though? She's from that.
No, it's just a joke.
She's from that area, but why would you put yourself in there?
Because I'll do it for anybody. That's why.
I know you will.
It's only because somebody asked me, hey, if you were on Twitter, you would see that. They were like, hey, since you're there, why don't you go up and announce it? And I said, well, they asked, I offered and Nikki Glazer did it instead.
I know, that's the way it goes. And I mean, she's looking, you're looking for people who shade.
But even when I give out information, like somebody goes, who are the Flyers using? And I said, well, I know John LeClair. And they're like, is that it? I'm like, I don't know, but I know it's John LeClair's here. I don't know anything else.
I mean, it all depends. Yeah.
Buffalo's getting Christine Baranski. She's from Buffalo.
Is she really doing it?
Yes. No.
Last year with Buffer, I do wonder.
I didn't think she would.
I do wonder who affiliate might be.
It could be Boreanaz, but who knows?
I can see Dave. Listen, I could totally see David doing it.
Yeah. Stallone has probably never watched a hockey game. That's my guess.
Yes, he was at the Kings game when Gretzky was there.
Oh, okay. That's it. That's probably the last time.
He's also been to a Flyers game. I saw him behind.
That's right, but only to push something. He hasn't been there because he wanted to
push it. I mean, they're all there to promote. They're always there to promote something.
Well,
that's fair. He was at a Flyers game, though. You're right. I remember that.
Swing back to the Flyers. Let's just briefly talk about the Sabres at 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because if their assistant GM and director of amateur scouting, Jerry Fortin, could adopt Radim Murtka based on the way that he talked about him, I think he would. I mean, we went over to the Czech Republic and the kid came over. I mean, he talked glowingly. Now, Murtka might not be there at 9.
Well, that's the problem now.
Now, if he is there at 9, I would be, and they go defense, I would be stunned if they don't take Murtka.
Yeah, I agree. I mocked him there, but the problem is, and I used the quote from the Combine, Mike. Like he did talk about Seattle, and if Seattle really wants him, they could get him, and if Buffalo can't do anything about it.
Yeah, but I don't see Murtka getting past Buffalo at 9.
Right. I agree. Even though I wouldn't do it. I would take Logan Hensler instead. I don't care that he's 6'6" and a right-handed shot. I want to just talk about the right-handed shot thing too, just for people who are making all these comments. We understand that right-handed shots get some extra bump, but what's the best way to get a right-handed shot? Draft and develop them. You can get 2 every draft if you want. Like for teams that come up short on that, it's unbelievable to me if they're going to put this much value on it, then put value on it when you're drafting.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like I said, when you start talking like defensemen, like a Blake Fiddler or someone like that, right? I think everybody has him, they have him lower. I think between his size and the fact he's a right shot and he's got some decent mobility, I don't think he's getting past he won't get past the high 20s for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. He didn't have a great offensive year, but there's other things to like about him.
There's things he still has time to kind of develop those things. So
yeah, I mean, I would think if he gets to it, Nashville would take him with his second pick. I think that would be I don't think he would get. I think, and when I did my mock, like if the Flyers took Ravensburg, and I think they would take Fiddler. Like that's
I agree. But if the Flyers took, it would be funny. I honestly believe that if the Flyers took Ravensburg, and you're right, Nashville would take Fiddler, and if the Flyers took Fiddler, Nashville takes Ravensburg. It would probably work.
A lot of fiddling here.
A lot of fiddling going on here.
Like Charlie Daniels.
Yeah.
That was my first concert, by the way. It is what it is. All right. Actually, so I did see some Grammys on the sidewalk, and Best Newcomer, Bob Newhart. Was that the first Grammy they ever put down on the ground? I'm going to show the picture later, but it's like, I mean, had to be the first.
I mean, yeah, it's been around.
It's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago, but you're old. What do you want?
I'm not the one who did it. Bob Newhart, yes. Did I ever listen to his album? Sure, because he was hilarious.
Yes.
But I'm just saying it was funny to see Bob Newhart, Best Newcomer. It made me laugh. That's all.
Yeah,
all right. So, from the Rangers standpoint, they traded their pick. That's it for the New York Rangers. That's the report.
Yeah.
That's it.
I get it. It's 2026. If you can hold on to a pick, that's the pick you hold.
Here's the problem, though.
Okay.
You know it's 12 this year,
Yeah.
and you lose a year of development when you push it to the next year. If Shesterkin were to get hot and push them beyond 12, then you're going to go maybe, let's say they're at 18 next year. It's probably a wash.
But at the moment,
And then you lose a year of development.
It might be a wash, but then the player who's at 12 this year might be at 18 next
But
year.
you lose a year of development. So that's the thing. Now, if they have a really bad year, then
you might have a more quality player.
I mean, is Drury betting on them having a bad year? Is that why he did this?
Well, no, Russ.
You think it's the beginning of a mini tank?
The school of thought here is that they kept that first round pick so they could do offer sheets.
Yeah, I know that school of thought. I don't know if that's going to happen, but because again, they have a guy that might get offer sheeted in Keandre Miller, right? I mean,
Sure.
Yeah,
so
possible.
be careful who you offer sheet because somebody might turn around and offer sheet your guy. I mean,
Agreed.
that definitely could happen. So, all right. Circling back to Trevor Zegras. Look,
Yes.
I like the player. I've watched him all the way through the MTDP. I've interviewed him many times. He's an engaging kid. But still, there's a reason he got traded. One thing, I don't think Quenneville wanted to coach him because he's not a Quenneville guy. Like we all can look at the way he plays and say he's not a Quenneville guy.
Mm-hmm.
He even acknowledged, yes, he has to get better on faceoffs. I tweeted that the other day. He's 41%. If you're going to play 2C, you can't be 41%. So hopefully he could get better at that, but he also has to be better in the middle of the ice. And that's where I don't know if that's going to happen. I think he can get 60 points. I don't doubt that.
Yeah. And I think this was as much, Russ, an acquisition of a top 6 talent that Philadelphia desperately needed. And that's the reason why I don't think they were completely committed
Right.
to basically saying that it was spun as he is a top 6 talent. We
Right.
just traded basically our 4th line, maybe 3rd line-ish center
Right.
in Ryan Poehling, who, by the way, has had injury problems, has had concussion issues.
Oh, yeah.
You're trading from the 3rd of 4 second round picks,
Mhm.
and you're trading. And again, the 2026 third might be something.
Yeah, I mean, the assets were not a big deal.
And the
They
assets
weren't.
are not, and you're protected. It's for he's a restricted free agent after the contract is over, so he's kind of in a prove it mode here with Philly as well.
He is.
So I just look at him as, again, they're going to try him at center. They may not. And again, I don't know if Philly is necessarily done exploring the market in terms of possible other trades for other centers in this circumstance. I'm still keeping my eye, even though he played out on right wing in Winnipeg. I still have my eye on Gabriel Velarde. I just do.
Yeah, I mean, they're negotiating. We don't know how much further that will go, but they are negotiating. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
I mean, the Flyers could come out of this offseason with 2 top 6 talents that are 24, 25 years of age that fits their timeline. They're at the point right now where they could probably they are able to do it. Now, again, Velarde, I think, will cost them obviously much more in trade than Zegras did because Zegras had a year on the contract, whereas you have to figure out Velarde's contract right now.
Yeah. So I want to put out a PSA here, and this is a fill in the blanks.
Mm-hmm.
I will trade, and we put blank for the pick for a young top 6 forward, and you could use that for Ken Holland. You could use that.
Everybody's using it right now.
Everybody.
Armstrong, I want a top 6.
Armstrong. Everybody.
And nearly messaged you guys earlier when I saw that, and I was like, Bill's feeling himself right now after the Peterka trade. I get it, and they've been talking about that. I fully expect Bill Armstrong will be up on that podium.
He will be.
Not on the podium, but wherever he's at,
Yeah.
whoever's announcing the pick, I guarantee you almost 98% the Utah Mammoth will be selecting at pick 4.
Yeah, no question. You know what? And you know who the best celebrity would be to announce their pick? Someone from Jurassic Park, either an actor or actress, or even one of the dinosaurs.
I'm sure
Any
there's
of
a celebrity from Utah we're not thinking of.
Okay, name it.
The Velociraptor.
Hold on, let's go.
Right.
Look. Hold on. Famous.
You do
Utah-
that search. We'll keep
Famous
going.
Utah celebrities. Let's go look. Let's see.
Steve Young.
I don't know if they're going to bring out Robert Redford. They're not going to bring out Robert Redford. We know
No.
that.
Steve Young. He went to BYU.
Steve Young. That's it. Yeah. You have a
Steve Young has no interest. Keep moving.
James Woods.
I don't think anybody wants to hear from James Woods. Keep going.
Sure they
Okay,
do.
let's
Fox
go.
News does.
Yes,
Or-
Fox News does.
Oh no, Chrissy Teigen's from there.
Okay, that's a possibility.
Jewel's from there.
Who?
Jewel, the
Oh,
singer.
Jewel. I don't think she's going to do it. No.
No, she's
David
an orthodontist.
Katherine Heigl is also from Utah.
Catherine Heigl. I mean, she's Swedish. They play hockey. You never know.
Now,
Right.
Swedish descent, but
Well, she is. Yeah, of Swedish descent.
So there's some names.
There's some possibilities. All right.
And you're trying. If you're Utah, you're again trying to put your best foot forward. Maybe it's someone again. Maybe it's somebody like that.
It could be.
Montreal whipped again. It wasn't hard to whip out Celine Dion.
Maybe it's
To
forward.
whip out Celine Dion.
I'm just saying, when they decided to go the celebrity route,
It was a good thing.
Maybe
everybody lost their mind in Vegas.
It was a nice reveal. It was
Maybe it's John. Maybe it's John Stockton.
John Stockton.
You could maybe Karl Malone.
Yeah, Stockton and Malone. There you go.
There's options.
I mean, who was the guy that Jordan shot over? I forget.
Ryan Russell.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be
Byron
him.
Russell. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Maybe,
Not happening.
maybe it'll be Craig Elo.
Oh, Craig.
Wait,
All right.
wasn't. He was.
It was the first one he shot over.
Right.
That one. Okay, if it was that makes sense. But yeah, we're talking about.
But Brian Russell makes more sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
So
Go ahead.
so let's just talk about the. It's really hilarious because Brad Treliving held his media availability in Toronto today, and they asked him, "So what's how are things going with Mitch Marner?" And he couldn't say, "Well, we're in contact with his agent." Yeah, we're in contact with his agent. He says, "It is what it is. We think he's going to go to market." No, you think he's going to market? Yeah, no. It's the one good piece of news for Leaf fans out there is that
Justin Bieber will announce their pick. No, sorry.
Yeah, there you go. No, it'll be Mike Myers. It sounds as if they're closing in. It sounds like the Tavares deal is going to happen.
People are saying it wasn't, Mike. Remember, we saw these tweets.
Yeah, okay.
I was not believing him even for a little bit.
No, I know.
Yeah. Pierre LeBrun said, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, that if the Leafs offered a 4-year deal at $20 million, that probably would get it done. And that sounds pretty reasonable and within the range. That's a little more than Matt Duchene got. And if you factor in the tax difference.
Yeah, they could do signing bonus with that. And he could.
That's what made things kind of slow down a little bit on this was the minute. I think everybody was at least a little bit surprised at the Duchene.
Yeah, I think they could do a signing bonus or something probably to offset too.
Or deferred salary, which is still
deferred salary.
Yeah. So I think that's going to get done. It sounds like the Matthew Nice thing is going to get done after July 1st because they do not believe that there is going to be an offer sheet situation. And even if there is, they have.
Great. Thank you for setting the parameter of our contract for him. We were looking for that anyway.
So what do we think about an possible 84-game season that's being reported?
So I'm again with a shortening of the preseason. It makes sense. Anybody who thought that the NHL was going to cut back on games when most leagues don't, NFL's continuing to expand with games, they're not going to give up regular season gate. They're just not. So 84 games. It's the nature of things. It's accounting for expansion. It's going to be equal number. I think when all is said and done, we're going to be looking at an equal
36.
number of divisional games once we get to full max. So it's just preparing the league for that.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I just looked at it and said, yeah, I accept it.
Foreshadowing.
One more home gate. At least one. You get one more home gate here.
If you're expanding to 36 teams, which it sounds like, they're first going to expand to 34 with Houston and Atlanta, and then they're probably going back to Arizona once they got their head taken out of their rear end and built a new building. And one more city, whether that be Quebec City or Portland.
Houston's.
No, I said Houston and Atlanta.
Oh, besides Houston and Atlanta, sorry.
There'll definitely be some. We know it'll be at least 3 of the 4 teams are going to be Sun Belt.
Right.
Yeah. And honestly, Portland makes
sense. I like Portland.
Higher for it because it allows you to have full West Coast coverage from Vancouver to Seattle, right on down the Western board, and you can create a division based off just that if you want.
And before they start the rumors, no, it's not going to be a second team in Toronto. That dog won't hunt.
Nobody's doing that rumor anymore. Honestly, I don't hear it.
Yeah, it's just
it never did.
It never made any sense. Well, it never made any sense, and the Leafs will not allow it.
It did when BlackBerry was the thing, but that's been a while.
Yeah, that was Kitchener Waterloo, and that was Jim Balsley.
Yeah,
but
it's been a while for them.
Balsley, I remember Balsley.
Ballsy, as Bob McCown used to call him. But no, I mean that's they're talking about a $2 billion expansion fee, so that's $8 billion, and that's not hockey related revenue, folks. That's going right into the owner's jeans.
Pretty much.
Well, that's if they're Canadian
or Hagar's. Could be Hagar's.
We'll go khaki.
I didn't say Levi's. I said jeans.
I know.
Hangers.
I'm just saying. You said
Wranglers.
The Hagers are different. They're twill and knit, Mike. It's a different type of pants.
Are they wearing slacks or jeans if they're Canadian?
That's the point. Correct.
Corduroy.
They're slacks. So, all right. I didn't think there could be negative repercussions for drafting Anton Frundell, and nobody likes him more than me. I really like him. But here's the but. If you're San Jose and you draft Anton Frundell over Michael Misa, you've got to have your head examined.
There's so much of this feels like it's a lot of smoke. I
feel it probably is.
When I say a lot of smoke, I mean as in like there's a strong contingent from Chicago that is trying to will this to happen.
Maybe.
And again, Ben Pope, obviously wrote a piece on it today.
Sure.
The Chicago Sun-Times. That gives it even more credence. It's not just sort of a conversation. There's been some San Jose reporters. I know Max Miller mentioned the fact that he thinks that there's a good chance it's Frondell at 2. And again, some of this is just people are thinking he's the next Sasha Barkov. And I think we
got to pump the brakes on that one.
We got to be careful with this. And I think if San Jose does go Frondell over Misa, that's. I think it's like one step.
Before you go, Mike, real quick, here's why I don't give comps, because I don't want to say he's the next Sasha Barkov because I don't believe it. I don't want to say Brady Martin is the next Sam Bennett because I don't believe it. Right. That's why I don't do it, because every time there is those players that all of a sudden teams decide they want to try and replicate, this isn't the way to do it.
He mentioned Barkov at the combine, Russ. He mentioned,
of course, but every player mentions the best possible player.
You want to get it out. Want to get it out in the press.
The two most, I'll say humorous narratives in terms of, one is the Frondell being all the way up to number 2.
I thought you were going to say DB Sweeney still being alive. Okay.
No,
DB Cooper.
DB Cooper. Now DB Sweeney is alive.
He is alive.
Yeah.
Well, that's the jet lag. That's the jet lag.
Okay. But the other one is that Hagens could slip into the teens.
It's never happening.
Yeah, it's like, okay. And then to me, that's the wishful thinking of Matthew Darsh and the New York Islanders.
Absolutely.
They're hoping he slips that far so they don't have to trade as far up as they think they have.
I don't know. When I get people in college hockey like our friend Adam Woden telling me, I watched him this year and he told me, I wouldn't be shocked if he dropped into the teens.
Okay, but here's the thing. All that aside, Adam hadn't watched him any time before this year. And I think just counting this year and grading him on that is crazy when we're talking about Matthew Schaefer's 15-year because he didn't play much this year. So now we're going to talk about him at 15.
This is what I'm going to say. And I've said this earlier, I feel like Philly is actually is a fulcrum for how far he falls.
Yeah, probably.
Because again, if he's there at 6 and Philly passes on it,
but I don't think Nashville's passing on him. That's the thing.
I think 5 should be probably where he should land in this circumstance. And then
he interviewed great with Nashville. That's what I was told.
And I'm not surprised. And again,
he's an engaging kid.
He's the kind of player that I think in Nashville will play particularly.
They need that kind of offense.
You're not going to be able to get a guy like Frondell,
right?
Higgins is right. Higgins would be the guy that's right there with him. So
Yeah.
I don't expect Higgins to be there. I don't expect Higgins to be there at 6.
I don't either.
I expect, it's interesting how the stock on Desnoyers is kind of going up and down here a little bit in terms of a lot of the mocks. And now everybody had him up as high as 3. And now things are starting to settle towards 5 or 6.
Which is where he was going to be the whole time,
Exactly.
I think.
And I think in this circumstance, we've discussed this already. And I said this, if it's in the unlikely scenario that it's Higgins versus Desnoyers, we know who the Flyers are.
We know they're going to take Desnoyers.
They're going to take Desnoyers, and it's going to.
They have the most intel on him.
It's going to annoy a lot of Flyers. I have no doubt it's going to annoy a lot of Flyers fans. But at the end of the day, I think it would probably be the response. It would be the most responsible. It would be a responsible pick, and people may not like hearing it, but I do believe that. I do that. They're looking for as good as Matvei Michkov is. I look at Desnoyers as sort of like that calm counterbalance. And I know people don't want to hear, oh my God, Sean Couturier, but if you're going to tell me you're going to guarantee, a Sean Couturier level career from Caleb Desnoyers, where was Couturier taken, by the way, in his draft year?
11th or 12th? Seventh. Okay.
7th. And that was part of the whole big trades where
they
moved out Carter and moved out Richards.
Right.
The funny thing about that was I was sitting next to Steve Wino. We're in Minnesota. Steve looks at his phone. He goes, Russ, look at this. And I was like, oh my God, and the interviews were just getting ready to start the day before the draft interviews. And I said, I know who we're going to first.
Yep. Exactly. That was a wild,
It was wild. It was totally unexpected.
This predates my draft, draft coverage, which started at 14 in Philly. So
yeah, we honestly we didn't see that coming. Nobody saw that coming. So that was a bit of a surprise. Couple more draft things. So Mason West. I am of the belief that you could go play football this year, kid. That's great. You have an intention of playing hockey after. I wouldn't give anything but a 7th round pick for you because you can get hurt playing quarterback.
Watch him go late first now.
Yeah, and who cares?
I got a weird.
I wouldn't be the team. I would not be that team.
I feel like, and I know somebody, I forget who mocked him to LA at 24. With LA basically screaming, apparently, when Josh Dooley basically says that the Kings are looking to trade back, basically signaling to Philly or San Jose.
Yeah, I don't think it's for him, though.
Give us something to trade up to this spot.
I don't remember the last time the Kings took a Minnesota high school kid. I really don't.
Doesn't mean it can't happen.
I know, but I know Mark Yannetti a little bit, and I just don't have a history of him doing that. So I'm kind of gauging that.
I do, and I kind of wonder if it's. I wonder if the room is some guys in that room are strong on West. And
it's possible. I mean, I'm sure
they want to be taken out of that potential scenario, or if they drop back to let's say they trade with the Flyers. Say Philly decides, okay, we moved 22 up, but we want to move up again to 24 because maybe we want Ravensburg, and he's still there.
Yeah, we have to.
So that's the way to look at it.
We have to remind people Brady Martin will not be at the draft. He is working on his family farm, and he will not be there. Don't tweet something like, where is this kid? He's not going to be there.
Right. He's got responsibilities. And I'm sure, when if he's drafted by the Flyers.
You said when.
What?
You said when first before you said if.
Yeah.
The W you
said that. I shouldn't have said
that.
Listen, I did put this out.
I'm not editing this either.
I put this out. No, listen, I put it as a draft prediction. If Higgins, Frondell, and Desnoyers are off the board, Martin is probably the pick to me.
I think they're going Jake O'Brien if that's the case.
They may, and I have O'Brien in there. But I have Martin sort of right in that category.
And then Boston takes
Brady Martin doesn't get past Boston.
No, he doesn't get past Boston.
No, he doesn't get past. He wouldn't get past Boston. And again, my whole thing with Brady Martin, to me, I think it's far more likely. Oh, we're losing Russ.
No, you're okay. Keep going.
Keep going.
Okay.
You're
Yep.
caught up now. Yes.
I think Brady Martin. I think Brady Martin is Brad. It might be Brad Marchand.
I don't think so.
That's what I think. I think
Brad Marchand, I
think
think
he might
has
be.
sure.
I think that's really. I think everybody is focused so much. Now, again, I don't know if he's going to get the points that Brad Marchand had. And you have to remember, Marchand was originally drafted. He was listed as a center.
I know.
I think
So was Travis Konechny.
I don't.
So
I
is
know
Mitch
a lot of
Marner.
guys feel that way. Oh God.
Yes, Mara was too. StreamYard's taking Anthony out.
No, it's Wi-Fi. Let's just end the show, Russ.
Okay. We do want to mention that we are going to have a free agent frenzy July 1st at 1:00. We're not going to keep it on for 5 hours. It's not going to happen. And, we'll do our best to recap.
I think we're going to look at least probably a couple hours.
Yeah, 2 to 3 hours, depending.
We're not going to go like super long.
Depending on how things break.
Right. And
exactly. I think that's important.
And we're going to have obviously guests as well on the show. A lot of the writers from Hockey Hot Stove will be joining us
because we won't have somebody jumping off camera and then jumping back with fake rumors.
Anyhow, that's it for Off the Post. We'll catch everybody next time.
Take care, everybody.